afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. As Deputy Garrett indicated, I'm Judge Gregory Adams, and I will be presiding over this criminal matter. I do want to thank each and every one of you for your patience. Before we begin, and before I read the indictment, I'm going to go ahead and allow the lawyers to introduce themselves, starting with the state or the defense.
My name is Robert James. I'm the DeKalb County District Attorney.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kelly Hill. I'm Assistant District Attorney here in DeKalb County.
Good afternoon. My name is Anna Green Cross. I'm Assistant District Attorney in DeKalb County.
Good afternoon. My name is Andy Pasquale. I'm also an Assistant District Attorney.
And Mr. Clegg, would you also introduce your client at the appropriate time?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tom Clegg. I'm an attorney engaged in the private practice of law in Decatur. The young lady here to my left is Miss Andrea Sneiderman, my client and friend.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is J. Tom Morgan. I'm an attorney here in Decatur, Georgia, in private practice.
John Petrie, attorney here in Decatur.
Trisha Leonard. I'm assisting attorney.
All right, lawyers, at this point in time, I will call the case State of Georgia versus Andrea Sneiderman, case number 13, CR 2413. Is the state ready?
State's ready, Your Honor.
Defense ready?
We are, in fact, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, both the state of Georgia and the defense have announced they are ready. They have also joined issue in which Mrs. Sneiderman has entered the plea of not guilty to the charges that I'll be reading to you momentarily. And the issues have been joined, and that is the issue that you have to determine on whether or not the state will be able to meet its burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt during the course of a trial. This is case number 13, CR 2413. It was determined by the March 2013 term of the grand jury, and it's the state versus Andrea Sneiderman. And the indictment reads as follows. It charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of hindering the apprehension of a criminal in violation of Official Code of Georgia 161050 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb in the state of Georgia between the dates of November 18, 2010 and January 5, 2011. It knowingly and willfully concealed facts and destroyed evidence of Henry Newman's guilt in the murder of Russell Sneiderman, which she knew was evidence of the crime of murder. To wit, the accused destroyed text messages and a record of telephone calls between herself and Henry Newman exchanged on the date of the murder, concealed her romantic relationship with Henry Newman from police, and concealed her knowledge of Henry Newman's culpability in the murder of Russell Sneiderman. Count 2 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of concealment of facts and matters within the jurisdiction of the Dunwoody Police Department in violation of Official Code of Georgia 161020 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on or about the 24th day of November 2010. It knowingly and willfully concealed from representatives of the Dunwoody Police Department the existence of a romantic relationship between herself and Henry Newman while that police department was conducting an official investigation into the murder of Russell Sneiderman. Count 3 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of making a false statement in matters within the jurisdiction of the Dunwoody Police Department in violation of Official Code of Georgia 161020 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on or about the 5th day of January 2011, did knowingly and willfully make a false statement in a matter within the jurisdiction of the Dunwoody Police Department, to wit, accused told Lieutenant D. Barnes and Deputy Chief D. Size that she never suspected Henry Newman was involved in the murder of Russell Sneiderman prior to December 28, 2010. Count 4 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of perjury in violation of Official Code of Georgia 161070 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on or about the 21st day of February 2012, having been given a lawful oath in a judicial proceeding, state versus Henry Newman, 11 CR 1364, did make a false statement in a judicial proceeding material to a point in question, to wit, that she did not have knowledge that Russell Sneiderman had been shot at the time she spoke to Donald Sneiderman prior to her arrival at Dunwoody Prep, such statement being material to the issues surrounding the murder of Russell Sneiderman. Count 5 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of making a false statement in matters within the jurisdiction of the Dunwoody Police Department in violation of Official Code of Georgia 161020 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on or about the 5th day of January 2011, did knowingly and willfully make a false statement in a matter within the jurisdiction of the Dunwoody Police Department, to wit, accused told Lieutenant D. Barnes and Deputy Chief D. Size that she did not know what had happened to Russell Sneiderman at the time she had arrived at Dunwoody Prep, when in fact she knew that Russell Sneiderman had been shot prior to her arrival at Dunwoody Prep. Count 6 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of perjury in violation of Official Code of Georgia 16-1070 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on or about the 21st day of February 2012, having been given a lawful oath in a judicial proceeding, state versus Henry Newman, 11-0-1364, did make a false statement in a judicial proceeding material to a point in question, to wit, that she was not romantically involved with Henry Newman, such statement being material to the issues surrounding murder of Russell Sneiderman. Count 7 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of perjury in violation of Official Code of Georgia 16-1070 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on about the 21st day of February 2012, having been given a lawful oath in a judicial proceeding, state versus Henry Newman, 11-CR 1364, did make a false statement in a judicial proceeding material to a point in question, to wit, that none of Henry Newman's feelings for her will ever return, such statement being material to the issues surrounding murder of Russell Sneiderman. Count 8 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of false statements in matters within the jurisdiction of the Dunwoody Police Department in violation of Official Code of Georgia 16-1020 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on or about the 19th day of November 2010, did knowingly and willfully make a false statement during an official investigation into the murder of Russell Sneiderman, to wit, she told Detective A. Thompson that she had made it clear to Henry Newman that she did not want him to pursue her romantically. Count 9 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of perjury in violation of Official Code of Georgia 16-1070 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on or about the 21st day of February 2012, having been given a lawful oath in a judicial proceeding, state versus Henry Newman, 11-CR 1364, did make a false statement in a judicial proceeding material to a point in question, to it, that she did not share a hotel room with Henry Newman in Longmont, Colorado, such statement being material to the issues surrounding the murder of Russell Sneiderman. Count 10 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of false statements in matters within the jurisdiction of the Dunwoody Police Department in violation of Official Code of Georgia 16-1020 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on or about the 5th day of January 2011, did knowingly and willfully make a false statement to Lieutenant D. Barnes and Deputy Chief D. Side, to where she denied that Henry Newman was in Longmont, Colorado in July 2010 with accused. Count 11 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of perjury in violation of Official Code of Georgia 16-1070 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on or about the 21st day of February 2012, after having been given a lawful oath in a judicial proceeding, state versus Henry Newman, 11-CR 1364, did make a false statement in a judicial proceeding material to a point in question, to it, that at the time she was in Longmont, Colorado with Henry Newman, she believed he was there on business for General Electric, such statement being material to the issues surrounding the murder of Russell Sneiderman. Count 12 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of perjury in violation of Official Code of Georgia 16-1070 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on or about the 21st day of February 2012, after having been given a lawful oath in a judicial proceeding, state versus Henry Newman, 11-CR 1364, did make a false statement in a judicial proceeding material to a point in question, to it, that she and Henry Newman did not kiss while in Greenville, South Carolina, such statement being material to the issues surrounding the murder of Russell Sneiderman. Count 13 charges and accuses Andrea Sneiderman with the offense of perjury in violation of Official Code of Georgia 16-1070 for the said accused person in the county of DeKalb, state of Georgia, on about the 21st day of February 2012, having been given a lawful oath in a judicial proceeding, state versus Henry Newman, 11-CR 1364, did make a false statement in a judicial proceeding material to a point in question, to it. The accused testified that it was due to her mother's, Bonnie Greenberg's, concern for the accused's safety that she did not immediately report her suspicions of Henry Newman's involvement in the murder of Russell Sneiderman to the Dunwoody Police Department, such statement being material to the issues surrounding the murder of Russell Sneiderman. Contrary to the laws of the state, the Lord, peace, dignity thereof, signed Robert D. James, District Attorney. So all of these charges, Mrs. Sneiderman has signed the indictment along with her lawyers and entered a plea of not guilty. She is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. Ladies and gentlemen, the way we're going to proceed, this is part of the process, what is called part out, which is the jury selection process. Once the jury has been selected and identified and seated, opening statements will follow, presentation of evidence, closing arguments, charge, and deliberation. Before we can continue, I need each of you for the jury to stand, please. And to raise your right hands. You will take this following up. You shall give true answers to all questions that may be asked by the court or its authority, including all questions asked by the parties or their attorneys concerning your qualifications as jurors in the case of the state versus Andrea Sneiderman. So help you God. If you will, say I will. Amen. You may lower your hand and you may be seated. And ladies and gentlemen, I will ask a series of general questions initially, and if you would like to respond, I believe Deputy Garrett has given you a number. I believe they have the number, and you just raise your number. The lawyers are going to take notes. And if you think the answer, or you think you want to answer affirmatively or respond, just raise the number, and at the appropriate time, the lawyers will follow up with that with individual questions. But this is what's called a general question. I'm casting these questions to the whole body. So if you think this applies to you, if you want to answer, just raise the question. If you don't understand the question, I will try to rephrase it if it is unclear. At this point in time, for the purpose of this, you've only heard me read the indictment and you heard the lawyers introduce themselves. But at this point in time, have you, for any reason, formed or expressed any opinion in regard to the guilt or innocence of the accused? At this point in time, based upon what you've heard at this point, have you, for any reason, formed or expressed any opinion in regard to the guilt or innocence of the accused? And what I'm going to do, let's go about first row, second row, then I will refer to the gallery, first row, second row. So you can, if you want to respond, just raise your placard. First row, second row, first row in the gallery, second row in the gallery, and I believe you're going to go back to the third row in the gallery. My vision doesn't see as far back as I should, but I think that's only 3 rows back. All right. At this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, have you any prejudice or bias resting on your mind either for or against the accused? At this point in time, first row, second row, first row in the gallery, second row in the gallery, third row in the gallery. And this question is your mind perfectly impartial between the state of Georgia and the accused? Now, if your answer is no, you can raise your number. Let me rephrase it. Is your mind perfectly impartial between the state of Georgia and the accused? Mrs. Snyder, if your answer is no, you raise your card. Okay, first row, second row, first row in the gallery, second row in the gallery, third row in the gallery. I'm going to go through a series of questions. Ask this question. Are you related by blood or marriage to the accused? That's Andrea Sneiderman. Is anyone in the first row or the second row related by blood or marriage to Andrea Sneiderman? First row, second row. First row in the gallery, second row in the gallery, third row in the gallery. There's several names mentioned in the indictment. I'm going to ask you about those. Are any of you related by blood or marriage to a Russell Sneiderman? First row in the gallery, and the first row in the panel, second row. First row in the gallery, second row, third row. There were several law enforcement officers named, mentioned. Also, let me just ask, are any of you related by blood or marriage to a Mr. Henry Newman? First row, second row. First row in the gallery, second row in the gallery, third row. Are any of you related by blood or marriage to an individual by the name of Lieutenant D. Barnes, who was employed with the Dunwoody Police Department, or related by blood or marriage to Deputy Chief D. Sides, also with the Dunwoody Police Department? First row, second row. First row in the gallery, second row in the gallery, third row. Are any of you related by blood or marriage to Donald Snyder? First row in the gallery, second row in the gallery. First row, second row, third row. Are any of you related by blood or marriage to a Detective A. Thompson? First row in the box, second row in the box. First row in the gallery, second row in the gallery, third row in the gallery. Responses? Are any of you related by blood or marriage to a Bonnie Greenberg? First row, second row. First row in the gallery, second row in the gallery, third row in the gallery. Since this corporation is made reference to, are any of you currently or previously employed with GE Electric or GE Corporation? First row, General Electric. First row, second row, first row in the gallery, second row in the gallery, third row in the gallery. And since it was made reference to the police, are any of you currently or previously employed with the Dunwoody Police Department? First row in the box, second row in the box. First row in the gallery, second row in the gallery, third row in the gallery. All right, no responses. And as, were any of you a member of the March 2013 term of the grand jury that returned this indictment, to which Mrs. Sneiderman has pled guilty to all of these charges, and she's presumed innocent unless until proven guilty in the court of law. And the state has the burden of proving each and every material element. But if you are a member of the grand jury that returned this indictment, you could not serve on the pettit jury. Were any of you a member of the March 2013 term of the grand jury? First row, second row. First row in the gallery, second row in the gallery, third row in the gallery. All right. I know all of you were here and you completed questionnaires last Friday. And my question is this. You wrote, and it was, I think, nearly 100 questions, and you give responses. Have any of you changed, or do you want to change any of the answers that you provided last Friday to today? And the reason I have to ask that question because it's been at least 4 days, and sometimes things change and people get exposed to things. And what happens, the lawyers, to move this along, will have a copy of all your questionnaires, so they have written answers, and they have to rely upon those answers. So if you need to change anything, which is okay if you need to, but you need to tell us now, because what you have written down, they're going to rely upon that is what you express, and that's what you still want to express. So am I clear? Does anyone want to make it? You don't have to, but I'm just putting in that posture. Are there any changes of any of those responses that you may have made last Friday when you filled out the questionnaire to today that you want to bring to the court's attention? First row, second row, and this whole plastic, third row, I'm sorry. First row, second row, number 70, you have a possible change. And we're going to follow up later, but you have a possible change. Anyone else on the second row? Third row. All right, number 70 has a change. And as I said, the lawyers will follow up with individual questions at that point in time. All right, the last question, I'm going to preface this a little bit, the next question before I actually put it out there. And obviously, the way the question is on the questionnaire about the possible limit. In addition to what you may have written already in the questionnaire, the case may, underline the word may, take an additional 3 weeks to resolve, which means whoever selected on this particular case will be with us for the next 3 weeks. And that does not include this week. This is a bonus week for us. So I anticipate the case going forward, starting on Monday going forward. It may be shorter than that, but I'm trying to get an outside number because, and what I'm looking for, a type of conflicts you can bring to my attention and you can raise your placard, such as, obviously, you made arrangements, you have to be present because your son, daughter, or significant other, or parent is having surgery next week, and it's scheduled, and you have to be there because you either going to be given blood or given an organ, okay? Those are the type of conflicts. Or if you're with me for the next 3 weeks, you want to tell me at some point in time, if it's not in your questionnaire, that you will go out of business, and as a result, you'll go financially broke, and you'll lose your house, your apartment. Those are the type of things I'm looking for, in addition to what you've written to already. So if you want to tell me, this is going to be your opportunity to raise your placard and say, when we get the individual question, make sure they follow up on that, if it's not written down already. You understand? Okay? Because sometimes when you fill out the question, you may not think of everything, but the lawyers are going to rely upon those questions. And I'll just tell you what I'm trying to prevent. Once we get to the point in which the jury is selected, and I'm not saying you will be selected, but then that's not the time to tell me you have non-refundable tickets to Alaska, or you got non-refundable tickets to X, or that's not the time to tell me. The time is to tell me while I'm going through this process, okay? First row. Number, if you...
56, I'm sorry.
Okay, number 56, we'll make a note, and the lawyer's going to follow up. You don't have to tell me right now, but we'll follow up. Anyone else on the first row? Number 51, And it's okay to go in sequential order because we're gonna take them. For anyone on the first row, second row, number 58, number 60, and they're gonna ask additional questions. And like I said, at this point in time, nobody's been released, nobody's been excused. First row, no, okay, 64, 65, 68. Anyone else on the first row, second row? Number 70, I'm coming all the way down, 74, 75. Anyone else on the third row? Number, let me make a note, 76 first, and then 77 and 203. All right? Now, like I said, all those things will be evaluated at their appropriate time, and I'm going to listen to everything you have to tell them. But I've been saying, so remember, when we get to that point, telling me you don't want to be here, I'm going to listen to you, okay? But that's not what I'm listening for, okay? But you're going to be able to tell me that. All right. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, I'm going to allow both the state and defense to ask general questions, and then once they've had opportunity, we'll go to individual questions, okay? Mr. James?
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a series of questions I need to ask you. I'm going to follow the same procedure that the court just followed. I'll start in the jury box, and I'll go over here to my left, and you can respond by raising your numbers. My first question is, you filled out a questionnaire on Friday. Is there anyone here that since Friday has moved from DeKalb County? You're no longer a resident of DeKalb County. First row, second row. First row to my left, second row, third row. Does anyone here recognize another member of the panel? I'm not talking about the court reporter, the bailiff, myself. I mean another person who has a number on, another prospective juror. Do you look around and do you recognize someone else? And let me qualify that again. I don't mean because you saw them Friday when you filled out your questionnaire. I mean, do you recognize them? All right, first row, second row. First row to my left, second row, third row.
And also, before the district attorney moves on, let me broaden that a little bit. Was there anyone on that big panel that you saw on Friday that you think you may know? Because we're doing this in stages, so they may have been here already. So, and we want you to tell us now if there is anybody you recognize, and B, the next follow will be if there are any problem that may exist if you and that person served on a jury together. That's what we're really looking for, okay? So think back, if you saw someone on this past Friday at the big panel that you think you may know, you can tell us at this point in time also, okay?
First row, second row. I have juror number 65 to my left. I have second row, I have juror number 70. Third row, I have juror number, is that 201, ma'am? Thank you very much. Juror number 201. And juror number 52 in the box on the first row. Have I missed anyone? Thank you. Is there anyone here who has seen any press coverage since you filled out your questionnaire? I know you were asked about press coverage in the questionnaire, but I'm talking about since Friday, since you filled out that piece of paper. Have you seen any press coverage since then? First row in the box. Second row in the box. First row to my left. Second row, I have juror number 74 and juror number 75. Third row, I have jurors number 76, 143, and 201. Have I missed anyone? My next question is, have you or someone close to you ever dealt with sexual harassment in the workplace? Have you or someone very close to you ever dealt with sexual harassment in the workplace? First row in the box. Second row. First row to my left. Second row. Third row. Juror number 76 on the third row. Have I missed anyone? Thank you. Is there anyone here, any one of you, that has a close friend or a family member that suffers from a mental illness? Suffers from a mental illness. First row in the box. I have juror number 55. Second row, I have juror number 57, 58, and 63. To my left, first row. Second row, I have juror number 70 on the second row. Third row, I have jurors number 76, 77, 201, and 203. Have I missed anyone? My next question is, does the defendant remind you of anyone that you know? Looking at her now, does she remind you of someone you grew up with, someone you worship with, anybody that you know? First row. Second row. First row to my left, second row, third row. And my last question is, ladies and gentlemen, does anyone here have any bias towards a prosecutor's office, towards a DA's office? Anybody not like prosecutors? First row. Second row. First row to my left. Second row. Third row. Thank you.
Ms. Clegg?
I have no general questions, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's going to take place next, we're going to go to what is called individual questions. But before you leave my presence, the lawyers are here, let me give you these instructions. While you are waiting to come back individually, and also, other times also, but in particular now, do not discuss the case. I'll allow anyone to discuss the case with you. And that means just what it means. Don't talk about the case. You can talk about anything you want to talk about. Do not discuss the case. I'll allow anyone to discuss the case with you. If someone is near you trying to talk about the case, you have two options. Either move away from them or have to move away from you. But since you're going to be collectively together, nobody should be violating that order. Do remain upon the floor where you're going to be waiting. There are going to be ladies and men's room, restrooms available. And if you need to get water, get water. While you're waiting, and if you're selected, do not read or look at any media coverage pertaining to this case. Do not typically go to any location that may have been discussed. Do not go upon the internet and do any research about this case. Do not blog about this case while it's all ongoing. Do not try to go to any location that may or may not have been made reference to. All the evidence that you're going to have to base your decision upon will come to you in the form of sworn testimony from this witness stand and any physical evidence that is introduced during the course of the trial. Although I mentioned there was a different group, but do not consume any alcoholic beverages during lunch. You will have an opportunity to check your cell phones and things like that, but do not text, email, I can't think of all the other terms, about this case while it's ongoing. And also the lawyers and the parties are not allowed to talk with you or interact with you, so I don't ever want you to think they're being rude or discourteous if you see them out someplace else and they don't talk with you or engage in a conversation. What I'm going to do is go ahead and have the deputies gather up those placards that you have. You can pass them all the way down to this end. And then the gallery, I want to say pass to the center, because I'm going to work both sides, just pass them down to the center aisle. We'll gather those up. And juror number 9, I believe you're going to be the first one, but I'm going to let everyone follow the clerk, get instructions if you want to use the restroom. Juror number 9, but you're going to be the first one. Back out, but if you're good to go, you can remain there, but if you want a restroom break, this is the time to take it. You can just go ahead and follow it. Okay, yes, go ahead. Everyone follow the clerk, and those in the gallery, come up this way. Take them that way. Those in the gallery, follow the clerk back. Out that exit door. Thank you for your patience. Lord and Lord, you may be seated.
Young man, we have.
Oh, sure, yes. Yeah, come on, Lord. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff Hullinger, and we continue here from the DeKalb County Courthouse to give you an update as to all that has transpired this morning. The second session here began a little bit after 1:30 this afternoon. As of noon, they had qualified 30 potential jurors for an eventual pool of 40 who will be qualified. And once they have that pool of 40, they are going to pick the actual 12 jurors and 3 alternates, and that is expected on Thursday. During the questioning of potential jurors today, lawyers indicated they hope to begin the evidence portion Monday, and they expect the trial to last about 3 weeks. We are not sure if they're going to have opening statements before Monday or not. That still is left to determine. Everything right now is very, very flexible, and certainly is a mixture of a lot of things right now, depending on how long it takes to find a suitable jury pool. We will have complete coverage coming your way on 11 Alive at 6 and then at 7 o'clock, plus on the rundown at 10 on WATL and 11 Alive News at 11 o'clock. We have a full team here, and we will be giving you an update on all that has taken place today. So let's go back now to Judge Gregory A. Adams inside the courtroom here in Decatur.
All right, so you are the primary caretaker every day for your child. And how old is your child?
She's 20 months.
Okay. Is there anybody who can step in for you if you were to be here for 3 weeks, give or take?
No, I actually have a lady, she's 67 years old. Not only is she pretty frail, but she does have a biopsy she has to go to tomorrow, and they're thinking that she has cancer. That's the only other caretaker I have, other than my mother, but she's always busy.
And she works.
Yes, she works.
Okay. All right, thank you.
No question. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Just follow the instructions of the clerk. What state's position?
I think this juror qualified for our worship as a primary caretaker to a one-year-old child.
We agree on that.
All right.
She excused.
Do you excuse the cause? Number 51 should be next. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Juror number 51, what is the scheduling conflict or the hardship that you raised your number about?
Like this scheduling this morning,
Mm-hmm.
I called yesterday at 5:45, and as I understood it, it looks like I don't need to come because my number is 51, and the people that are only to come is 1 to 50.
Okay. So I thought you also raised your number when the judge asked if you were to be on a jury.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so you can talk
Because
about that?
I don't drive.
You don't drive?
No.
Okay. And how then did you get to the courthouse today and Friday?
I took a cab.
Took a cab. If you were selected for jury service and have to be here for 3 weeks every day, give or take, what would your transportation system be then?
Cab.
You would take a cab every day? Okay. Is that something that you can do or something that is financially unable for you to do?
No, it's too much.
You are?
Okay, another one.
Okay.
I am in the process of fixing my home. That is done with a tree that fell on the roof.
When did the tree fall on the roof of your home?
Like 3 weeks ago, but because of the insurance, it was still this damage.
Okay. When is the work scheduled to be done?
Supposed to be today, but they rescheduled because my schedule is supposed to be today.
Okay. Do you think that situation will be resolved in the next few days?
I don't know, it depends upon the schedule of the people who are doing it.
If you had to be here beginning Monday from 9 to 5, is that something that someone else would be able to handle for you at the house?
No,
No.
I'm by myself in the house. And another one,
Okay.
we're scheduled to go to Florida the last week of this month, of next month.
Okay, you let us know in the questionnaire about a trip scheduled for the 29th.
Right.
Is that the Florida trip you're talking about?
Right.
You've heard a little bit about this case, is that right? You've heard a little bit,
No.
nothing at all?
No,
Oh. So as you stand here now, you don't have any opinion one way or the other about the case?
no.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
If you could remain standing, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you.
The lawyer's going to ask questions.
I have a few questions, sir, not me, a big one. How did you end up in Thomaston from the Philippines?
The hospital has given me a working visa.
Okay. And then you stayed once you came to Georgia? And
Yeah.
You've been in Georgia ever since?
Yes,
But you're educated in the Philippines, right?
yes, I have a bachelor's degree in medical technology.
And your husband is an echo technician?
Yes,
And what is that?
like doing ultrasound to heart.
Oh, okay. Right. And you're all both currently employed now?
Yes,
And would 3 weeks jury service, would that interfere with your employment? Will you still be compensated?
I don't know, I'm not sure about that, but my biggest problem right now is the transportation.
Okay. And you take a cab from Chamblee, is that right?
Yes,
And there's not a way to take MARTA from Chamblee to Decatur?
there is, but it will take,
You prefer the cab?
it will take a long time.
And when did you become an American citizen?
More or less, maybe 7 years ago.
Okay. And you have no problem understanding the English language, obviously?
None.
Thank you.
Number 51, how do you normally get to and from work?
My husband will drive me because he's working at Northside Hospital, which is only in front of the hospital where I work, a sketch drive. So I go with him.
If you're selected, is it possible that he could drop you off here in the morning when we finish and pick you up when we finish at the end of the day?
With his schedule right now, he's leaving the house at 5 o'clock. He needs to be at work 5:30 in the morning every day.
And what time do you go to work?
5:30,
What time do you get off?
3 o'clock.
How do you get home?
Pardon?
How do you get from
Oh,
your
me?
workplace to home?
Oh, no, I'm talking about my husband.
But how do you get from work? When you're at work, how do you get home?
My husband will pick me up.
And what time does he pick you up?
I work 12 hours. That is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So he normally picks you up.
Yes,
What time does he get off work?
at 3 o'clock.
In the afternoon. If we finish court at 5 o'clock each day, could he pick you up from here?
Yeah.
All right. You may follow the instructions of the clerk. Thank you. What's the state's position?
State believes this is a qualified jury, Your Honor.
Defense?
Same.
All right, she's qualified. You're number 51, qualified, Kelly. Should be 52 coming in next, lawyers. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Juror 52, you have got, or you had at one time an internship in the law enforcement office?
Yes,
Okay, what was that office?
it was the Financial Litigation Department at the U.S. Attorney's Office,
Okay, when did you work there?
97.
What did you think of that experience in general?
It was a good experience.
And you let us know in your questionnaire that you've heard a little bit about this case, but that you didn't have an opinion on Friday when you filled it out.
Right.
Okay, do you have an opinion now,
No.
after being here today?
Mm.
No. Is there any reason you can think of that you wouldn't be a fair and impartial juror to the state and for the defendant? Sorry, one moment.
Sure.
Thank you.
We're back on the record. You ready to proceed?
I may have missed it. Did you recognize somebody on the jury pool?
Yes, I did.
Who did you recognize?
Her name is Sheila Beers.
All right. And how do you know that person?
We used to work at Kaiser Permanente
Together?
together.
How long ago was that?
4 years ago.
Okay. Did you do some medical records coordination?
That's right.
Okay. And is that, did you work with her as colleagues in the same department, or was it in a larger office?
We worked in the float pool,
Mhm.
so we used to float. Sometimes we used to work together.
Okay. Anything about knowing that potential juror that you think would make it difficult if by some chance you both ended up on the same jury?
And,
No strong feelings? Okay. Is there something else you want to tell me?
no.
Thank you.
Victor?
Ma'am, the person that you know, that you identified by name, is that someone that's here with you this afternoon or somebody that you saw in the pool
On Friday.
on Friday? Okay. You don't by any chance remember what her juror number was, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay, but did you work with her about how long ago?
About 4 years ago.
Okay, at Kaiser Permanente?
Yes.
Now, you indicated you worked at the U.S. Attorney's.
Yes.
Did you work with a particular assistant U.S. attorney or a group, or did you work in a more administrative field? What did you do?
Administrative field.
Okay.
In the Financial Litigation Department.
Did you work with some specific lawyers?
Sometimes I did.
Okay. Do any ones more than others?
I can't quite remember the ones that I did work with,
Okay.
because that was like in 1997.
Okay. Now, you born and bred here in DeKalb County. You specifically on your place of birth, you put DeKalb General, right? Okay. That pinpoints this for you. It indicates that right now you are a medical records coordinator, but doesn't tell us who you do that for.
Longview Hospice.
Okay. And how long have you been with them?
2 years.
So you have been in that field for approximately how long then?
About 12 years.
Okay. So that's pretty much what you've been doing after you left the U.S. Attorney's Office, the
Yes.
medical field. Okay. Bear with me just 1 second, please, ma'am.
It's gonna take time.
You indicated, in response to one of the questions about the Dunwoody daycare murder, that you are familiar with some media coverage, but then when you got more specific questioning about whether or not you remember any details, you remember anything about the trial or defense or the personalities involved, your answers were generally not applicable or no. Is that still your position? So you remember the incident, but insofar as the specifics of the case, you don't recall.
No, not supposed to.
Now that you know that this case is connected in some way with the Dunwoody daycare murder case, has any other memory jumped up to your mind, or say, oh yeah, I remember this, I remember that, anything like that?
No.
Okay. And if you are chosen as a juror, I believe you indicated that there would not be a work or a personal conflict if, as we believe that the trial itself, with the 12 jurors selected to try the case, will start this coming Monday. Everybody's best estimate is 3 weeks, but that right now is only an estimate. And your indication on the questionnaire is that that would not pose a conflict for you. Not necessarily number one on your list of what you'd like to spend your hours doing, but
you would be able to be with us.
If my job, if my job allows me to be with you all, I guess I would have to. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
If you could just follow the instructions of the clerk, thank you very much. State's position,
Qualified jury, Your Honor.
defense,
Agreed, Your Honor.
disqualified. '53 should be next. In your calendar, your notes may have an indication on 54.
We're missing 54, is that correct?
Correct. Availability, there should be a date on it when that person will be available. No, 31 days in July. I was just making a note. Okay. Let's just say 31 days in this week. You ready to proceed?
Thank you, Your Honor. Juror 53, tell me about the conflict or the hardship you might have with your work if you were selected for a juror, as juror in this case.
Well, I'm the only one who pays the bills at my house, so basically if I don't go to work every day, my mortgage don't pay,
Okay.
or my dogs won't pay.
You'd be able to go home at night. What kind of work are you doing right now?
Respiratory therapy,
Okay. And are you on salary or you get paid by the hour?
paid by the hour.
Okay. Have you checked with the company that you work for or the agency that you work for to see if they would pay you if you were on jury service?
No, I haven't.
Okay. As you stand here now, do you think that they would?
That I don't
Don't know.
If I have to come back once a day, I'm going to get someone to call him.
You also had someone that you recognized in the names of the people on the questionnaire, somebody who might have been an attorney for a relative of yours?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that person's, her name is Esther Kanich?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had a conversation with your cousin since then? Do you know for a fact that that was your cousin's attorney?
Well, yes, my cousin was actually one of the young teenage boys that was involved in the case last year with the beating of the young teen.
Mm-hmm.
So she just represented him on the federal about 2 months ago.
I see. All right. Do you have any opinions or any feelings after that experience or your cousin's experience that you think might impact you if you were a juror on this case that Ms. Spanish is not directly involved in, but you had seen her name in connection with this before?
No, ma'am.
Are you you live with one of your cousins? Is this the same cousin?
It's not the same cousin.
Okay.
We knew him.
And you had another cousin or another family member who was had a situation in Fulton County.
Yes,
That's
the same cousin.
that is the same cousin, and that's the cousin that Ms. Spanish represented him on. Okay. And you didn't feel like he was treated very fairly
On the state level.
on the state level. Federal was a different
Yes.
situation. Okay.
Well, I won't call it being treated fairly.
Yeah.
They did wrong, and they were supposed to be punished, but I thought the punishment was fair.
Okay. And in particular, you said you thought the Fulton prosecutor treated them unfairly.
I think he just painted a picture that wasn't true. I won't say to everyone involved. I can only speak for my family members.
Okay. I understand. All right. You've heard about this case before. You came in on Friday.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any opinions about the case based on what you've heard?
No, ma'am. At the time the case was going on, I was in Fulton County and in other courthouses myself with my cousin.
Okay, all right. And what was the time frame of when that happened?
February till it finished up in the state in July of 2012, and then the federal started, I want to say March 2013, and just ended in June 2013.
Okay. Were you pretty involved with going to the
Yes.
courthouse and stuff? Okay, you were there just as a support for your cousin?
Well, I'm kind of like a second mom. We only have about 5 family members here. We're from Florida.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you felt very close to that situation?
Yes.
And do you think having a family member who you are so close to in a difficult situation in the criminal justice system like that, do you think that would affect you as a juror on a criminal case?
No,
You don't think so?
no.
Okay. And you were a witness in the deposition.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that why you were living in Florida?
Yes.
Okay.
It was actually while I was in Florida, but then I started to go to school here, so they actually had to fly me back and forth. This was in 1997.
Oh, and that was a criminal murder case?
Yes.
All right. Did you personally witness anything? It wasn't clear from your questionnaire. Or did your cousin witness something?
My cousin witnessed something, but he was one of the ones that didn't talk to anybody, so for him to talk to a detective,
They needed you?
Yes.
All right. All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
Ms. Clay?
Very briefly, ma'am, I don't believe I have too many questions. You did recognize Ms. Panish's name, correct?
Correct.
Your cousin had charges both in state and federal court, correct?
Correct.
He was dissatisfied with his attorney in state court because that person appeared to be overworked, correct?
Well, I was dissatisfied.
Okay. Was your cousin dissatisfied?
I don't know what you think. I didn't care.
Okay. Was your cousin in custody during the pendency of these charges, or was he out on bond?
No, he was in custody the whole
Okay.
time.
So did you have a chance to confer with him on a regular basis about the status of his cases?
He's a young teenage boy, so he vents his emotions, his feelings from a young perspective. So it's like basically just trying to get him to understand that life don't go as you want it all the time.
Okay. But has that case has been resolved in state court, correct?
Correct.
And the federal case has been resolved as well?
Correct.
Did either case go to trial?
No.
Okay. How long has it been since those cases have actually been resolved?
The federal, he just got federally sentenced in June of this year. And in state, he got sentenced July of 2012.
So he was sentenced about a year ago in state court. The federal court sentence was just imposed this year.
Yes.
Did you attend the state court sentencing?
Yes.
And so you saw him actually get sentenced and you saw his attorney speak on his behalf?
Yes.
Did you attend the federal court sentencing?
Only one.
And did you see Ms. Panich actually do anything in court on behalf of your cousin?
Well, he entered a plea, so he didn't have to do much.
But as far as speaking in terms of mitigation or trying to get the judge to ease his sentence or anything of that sort, did you see her actually do that?
No, I wasn't there for the last day.
I am presuming that you actually had met with Ms. Panich, or is that incorrect?
I haven't met her, but over the phone, she called me several times, or I have spoke with her secretary or her office.
How many times would you estimate you have actually spoken to her?
Ms. Panich probably twice.
Okay.
And her office probably numerous of times, just calling, trying to find out information.
Okay. When you have actually spoken to her, can you estimate on each occasion how long that conversation would have taken place for?
Not even 5 minutes.
Okay. So is it fair to say that your actual communication that you had with Ms. Panich was about 10 minutes or so? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Were you the designated member of the family who communicated with the various attorneys?
One of them, along with his mother. Whenever his mother couldn't be there, I was there.
Do you know whether or not his mom actually spoke to Ms. Panich herself?
Yes, I do.
How often did she do that?
I know she currently still speaks to her because she's about to pick up a case for her concerning her job.
Okay. And other than that interaction with Ms. Panich, have you ever had any other contact with her?
No, sir.
Now, you do know something about this case, but very little, is that correct?
Very little.
There is nothing that you are aware of that would affect your ability to sit as a fair and impartial juror. You have no preconceived notion one way or the other as you stand here today, is that correct?
That's correct.
How long does it take to become a respiratory therapist?
You could go to school 2 years or 4 years.
Did you go to a 2-year program?
I went to Georgia State, and then my grandfather died, so my last year I actually had to go to the 2-year program.
Okay, so how long were you actually in college for?
5 years.
5 years. Thank you very much.
All right, you can just follow the instructions of clerks. Lawyers approach.
And good afternoon once again, everyone. I'm Jeff Hellinger. We are outside the courthouse. We are in the parking lot watching these proceedings on closed-circuit television of the jury selection. And again, let's update you. There have been 2 sessions today, the morning one, and then there was a hour to an hour and a half lunch break, and they resumed just about 60 minutes ago, and that's where we stand right now. As of 12 noon, they had qualified 30 potential jurors for an eventual pool of 40. The expectation is, at least from Judge Gregory A. Adams, is that a jury will be seated by 1:30 on Thursday afternoon. We don't know if the trial itself, the evidence part of this trial, will begin and commence on Friday or if it will adjourn until Monday. That is something we simply do not know right now. But we'll continue to keep an eye on it, and we will continue to update you. Of course, we will have all the information coming your way at 6 and 7 o'clock on 11 Alive. The rundown on WATL at 10 o'clock and again at 11 Alive at 11 o'clock. And 11alive.com will have all of the information that you may have missed this morning. So let's go back to the jury selection here in DeKalb County.
Oh. Juror number 52, you have sent a written communication through the clerk indicating that you want to bring my attention. Apparently, you know someone who may work on the 6th floor.
Yes, my cousin.
Your cousin?
First cousin.
Your first cousin. What is his or her name?
Iris Lewis.
Have you discussed this particular case with her or him?
I mentioned it to her when I saw it this morning.
Let me let the state follow up with any additional follow-up questions, followed by defense.
Do you know where your cousin works in the building or for
It's on the 6th floor. I think it's in. I just know it's on the 6th floor when you come out the elevator.
Okay. Does she work for a judge or does she work in one of the offices? One of the other
offices.
One of the DeKalb County offices. Do you know which one?
No.
No.
Mr. Speaker?
Yes. Ma'am, so your first cousin works on the 6th floor. When you first got a notice, you mentioned this to her in passing, that she was showing up as a potential juror in this case.
Yes.
Did she say anything to you or make any kind of physical gesture or anything like that to you that you think would have any influence on your ability to make your own mind up if you're selected as a juror?
No.
Okay. Now, I believe, maybe I misunderstood the court when you read your note. Was there another matter you wanted to bring to our attention as well, or was that the totality of what you think we may have not asked you?
That is basically it.
Okay.
And then as far as like being on a jury for like 3 to 4 weeks or so,
right.
I don't know if my job will pay me for that.
Right.
So that was a concern.
Right. You had indicated that, and that is, I forget the name, you're at a hospice.
Long Beach Hospice.
We're not actually selecting the jurors this afternoon. We are qualifying and we're making sure that we have enough that we can select them.
Okay.
Would you be able to check with your employer, or I don't know if it's large enough to have a human resources department, or whether it's smaller than that, but would you be able to check, and when you come back at the time that the clerk or the court tells you to, let us know what they said? In other words, can you ask him, hey, what's our policy about jury service?
Yes, I can answer that.
And then you will be brought back here at the time that the court tells you to, and you can give us that answer then?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you very much.
Will you be able, because I'm gonna go ahead and let you have access, if you don't have already, access to his telephone, so you can make that inquiry, so I will find out early this afternoon, okay? Also, this following the way the note was written, was there any other responses you want to bring to my attention of?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
State's motion, that's 52.
Your Honor, I'm gonna, let Ms. Cross, respond, but I did want to bring something to the court's attention, and I don't think she knew, but, and I don't think it matters, but I'll bring it to the court's attention anyway. She